What's up YouTube? Zombie Killer here, doing a review for SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. It's a 3D platformer, which this is Rehydrated. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, but by what I understand it's supposed to be similar to the original game. Anyways, this is a remaster of the game that came out towards modern consoles, PS4 and stuff. But it's a 3D platformer collectathon, so if you like those types of games, you'll have a lot of fun. But you got all these iconic places to go, tons of iconic characters to see, and while you're playing, there's two main collectibles. There's the socks, and then the spatulas. Now, some missions will require additional items, but those are just to get a spatula from a certain person. So, for example, right here, you'll meet Mrs. Puffs. She tells you to find all the pictures, well, paintings, and you find them all, you give them to her, she gives you a spatula. And, there's tons of different levels, and difficulty varies based off from some levels. You start out here, then you slowly make your way here, and then they intend you to go to here next, and then up here, and then unlock the next block and stuff. But there are some bosses with unique mechanics and simple patterns to kind of memorize and stuff. And there's 3 playable characters. There's SpongeBob, which has a basic attack, which is the same whether in midair. A bull attack, which you will get after you go right through this door here and fight a boss. A torpedo attack, which you'll earn towards the chum bucket area. A tiptoe, which you could do to sneak up on stuff. Like, for example, these, where if you're loud, they will disappear. There's also some enemies that you have to sneak up on to actually do. A jump up in the air move, and a body slam move. And there are some puzzles that you can complete by doing your moves. I'll show you some solutions to some simple puzzles in town to give you a basic idea of what to expect. And know that there's a lot more varying puzzles between the levels. But as you see, I could get up there where normally I wouldn't. There's these cool tikis that will blow up after a few seconds of being near it. These rock tikis, which are immortal to most basic attacks, but will get blown up with that. SpongeBob also has a ball that allows him to move quickly, which is quite nice. And then over here in this last town, you can talk to this guy, get that torpedo type move that I'm using. But over here, you can use the bowling to hit the stuff. And then now I'm able to get all the way up here and climb up all the way over there. I'm not going to waste your time by doing the full climbing. But one thing to keep in mind, you go forward when doing this, so just don't stand like right here and do it, because then it's going to close. Be back or towards the middle. Pretty simple. And as you see, the longer that you hold this down, the further it goes. Which, since it hit that, it stopped early, so let me just do it here. Wow, that one actually went pretty far. Usually they don't go near as far, but as you see, that one went all the way down there. And then with this torpedo ability, since it is explosive, it can actually destroy these when your normal stuff don't. But another example of using powers for solving puzzles, use the torpedoes to hit special switches. I was trying to hit both of them. Unfortunately, explosion was not big enough. But as you see, there was nothing in front of me. Right here, nothing. Now, as you see, I got a trampoline, which allows me to get up on top of here. And then I could also get right here. And then make my way to the roof. And as you can see pretty much each and every level from the outside, which is cool. Now, if you try to go towards the edge, you will be pulled back in because you're out of bounds. How you get into these levels is just go to the taxi door and press the taxi button. But pretty much, Plankton made a bunch of robots, and your job is to defeat them and get into the chum bucket and defeat the boss that's inside there. Now you can come in here. And this is still the hub area. This is a side section of the hub area, but if you go through this door, then you'll be starting the level. But there's a lot of different places you can enter into and explore. There's also a lot of TVs that you could interact with, and you can see some funny stuff on them, or get some important dialogue, stories type stuff. Like I could go into Sandy's place. Any place that you see here, you can go into. Now, over there at the movie theaters, you can see concept art and stuff, but you gotta pay 40,000 shiny objects, aka money. But they call it shiny objects. And then over here, in the PlayStation, you can see a complete list of all the opponents. Some of these are definitely tougher than others. But let's go ahead and go right here. Alright, I'm going to show you some of the other characters that are in this game. Also, these are special boxes that will teleport you to the other box. You have to touch them to unlock them. But they can allow you to fast travel between the level. But as you see, when sliding, SpongeBob uses his tongue. He can only jump or double jump. There's nothing else he's able to do while sliding, which that's the case for most people when they slide. But if you look up at the underwear, that's your health system. So as you see, I take damage, I lose health, I pick up the underwear, I get my health back. And these things will spawn back monsters, so you want to destroy them. For example, as you see, now they'll split out the monsters, and they won't stop spitting them out until they're all destroyed. As you see, that move can leave your body exposed to some possible dangers. So make sure that you're safe when you do it. But just like that, now when I kill everything, no one's respawning. But let's go over here and I'll switch to Patrick and I'll explain how he plays, since I think I did a decent job explaining SpongeBob's different movesets. At any of these bus stations, you can switch between any character that's supposed to be on the map. So this map is SpongeBob and Patrick. There will always be SpongeBob and one other person. Either Patrick or Sandy. But Patrick has the ability to pick up items like this, which with these, they end up breaking over time, as I'll show you. And then it's gone. But you can pick them up and throw them. Every character has a double jump and a basic attack. Patrick's basic attack is a belly flop type move. And then he got a basic ground pound by jumping up and pressing circle. And then if you jump twice and press circle, you can do a more stronger AoE ground pound. And that's pretty much all his moves. And when he goes down a slide, he goes down backwards like this. And as you see, he has a basic double jump and that's it for slides. Just like SpongeBob. Now let me go ahead, teleport here. But as you're playing, your main collectibles is 80 socks, which you give sets of 10 of them to Patrick, and you'll get a spatula. So first 10 socks, you get a spatula. The next 10, aka 20 socks, you'll get a spatula. And it'll continue until you give him all the socks in the game. Which, when you pick up an item to throw, as you see, it'll let you know where it's going to throw to. Which you can also pick up an item, throw it, and then use it to jump on for additional height. Like that. And then he can also pick up these ice cubes here, throw them at water to freeze the water, which will make it perfectly solid to run on. And you can find items or solve puzzles through that. But if you fail to make it back to land in time, as you see, you sink once the timer ends.
Hey, what just happened?
But as you make your way to these places, you'll get hints on how to unlock the spatulas, but socks you'll never get a hint about. Which, let's go ahead and switch over to SpongeBob. But yeah, spatulas you never get hints about, but some of the big characters, you got nice little voice lines with. And there's different objectives that you can do. Some characters will ask you to do some stuff. Just make sure that after you complete what they want, you return to them to turn it in. And you're good. Now let's go to a map where Sandy's involved. We'll go right here. I can switch over to Sandy on this map. This map is a Sandy level. Alright. But with Sandy, she got a quiet chop attack or a jump kick. And then, if I have an opponent, I could push circle to kill them if there are certain types of opponents. Doesn't work on the really small ones. Really small ones, you're supposed to quiet chop. And then she could jump up and hold X to hover after she double jumps. Then, as you see, when she goes on tracks and stuff, she uses a nice little shell. But also, if you fall off a track, you can actually use her hover to get back on the tracks, which is quite useful. For that reason alone, she's the best one to actually use with slidings, if you can. Because they can all play exactly the same, but she can actually hover, unlike the other two. Now, with this area, to do the speed limit, well, time limit thing, you have to be SpongeBob. Because you gotta try to get down here in a certain amount of time for a spatula. But, you know, other than that, if you can be Sandy, just be Sandy. But also, one thing that's cool about her, compared to the others, when she hovers, she can actually start sliding backwards. As you see, the game tries to force you to go down, because that's where you're supposed to go. But she can actually use hover to slide her way back up, which is really good for exploring branching paths. And I definitely use this a lot to find all the socks on this map. Also, another thing that you could do with the hover is you can literally use it to change paths, which is nice. But you can also use it just to stop in midair and just look around. You don't really have time to look around because it will fling you off the track and stuff. But by hovering, you can just look around and explore. Which is really good to help you find off-screen stuff. Now we'll teleport to another map. Real quick, that Sandy's at. And I'll show you the other thing that she can do. Here we go. Now, you can see these Texas symbols. Only Sandy can interact with them by jumping up. When she sees that circle, she can press circle to swing to them. Now you can do this in rapid succession, or you could just glide for better safety, if you don't care about slowing yourself down. Which, as you see, that's all of her moves. Now, in maps where they want you to find objects, like you see the 6 pictures, there'll be an NPC, usually at the beginning. So like right here, it would be Miss Puff at the beginning. And they'll ask you to find certain items. You find them all, you return to them, you'll get a golden spatula. There's a lot of different ones like that. And with this game, you know, some maps are definitely easier than others. And as you get later in the game, some maps get really brutally challenging tough, while others are not as bad. But you do have infinite lives, so don't really worry too much about whether or not you die, it'll just set you back a little bit. Which also with Sandy, she got this rope move right here. As you see, I cannot lasso these guys because they are the small opponents. But by coming here, I can go to one of these guys who are bigger, lasso for a quick, easy, instant kill. Also, another thing that SpongeBob can do that no one else can is if you see any of these fish nets, I mean, fishing hooks, not fish nets, he can hop on them to collect stuff. Usually there'll be a important collectible underneath, usually golden spatulas. Not always, but usually. And then if you hit a checkpoint like this, it will save, and if you die, you'll spawn right where the checkpoint is. Sometimes they can repeat lines a little bit, which may or may not get annoying to you. But yeah, there's tons of different stuff that you can do and find. Which, real quick, let's switch back to SpongeBob. But as you get towards the end, some of the platforming gets a lot more tougher. Like, for real quick, I'll show the dream level. Just the starting platforming challenges. As you see, if you just mindlessly charge, you will die. And if you don't take care of dangerous opponents like that, you will die. The correct way across this would be to kill this guy with this ability, which he puts up a shield every few seconds on himself, so you gotta kill him before he puts up a shield. And there you go. Which there are definitely more tougher platforming spots later on. But any of these purple shells that you see, you pay them a certain amount of shiny items, aka your money, up at the top. As you see, I got 17,000. And they'll unlock usually a way to get an item. But in the dream world, you're gonna unlock a different place. Alright, how did I land on the edge so perfectly not to take damage? As you see, a bunch of different platforming stuff. Well, that was well deserved. That's what I get for jumping haphazardly. Alright, now to actually do it for real. As you see though, just trying to rush through just doesn't always work. I jumped too soon. And there we go. And then some areas will have more intense combat section than others. For example, of a very intense combat section, we'll go here. Your goal is to kill all these guys, but you got two people with immortal type poppies. With these guys, unless if you destroy all of their forms, you will die. And if you don't hurry, they'll do that. And they will not die unless if you destroy all three at around a simultaneous bit. So you would have to do this to properly destroy them. Then with these guys, like I said, you destroy the shield, but then if you wait, they'll just get the shield right back. So it's like you never even touched them. And then with this Pacific mission, your goal is to kill as many of these guys while avoiding all the attacks so that way you can get up to these things. By killing, the hamburgers will move. Then your goal is to get up here and destroy those. And if you try to be sneaky and just rocket them, like this, they will just put another shield way on top of it. You have to actually be up there, so you can't even cheapskate this. And this area, you could easily be knocked off the edge, as you see, and all different types of stuff. These small guys are pretty easy, but these big guys right here, they're what makes this level a little bit more challenging. But for a good example of some tougher platforming, I would say this level. It starts off super easy, and then as you continue and continue, it will demand even better jumping all the way up until you reach the end. Once you finally get to the end, right up there, you're good. But platforms will soon start to just fall on you if you're on them too long. Move far away where it's impossible to jump to them if you miss your jump, like that. So you'll have to actually do perfect time jumps. You got stuff that will fling you flying up and stuff. So you'll have to carefully maneuver through it. And it gets tougher and tougher as you go. Luckily though, for this section, each time that you make it to one of those, you will get a checkpoint. Also, there's this red thing here. And as you see right here was a falling platform. But as you continue along the path, after you get past the first two sections, there'll be a checkpoint right there for each and every one of these. That's how tough they believe the platforming to be. And some of these, you will be grateful that you had the checkpoint. Early on, though, you're usually good. But, I think this should be enough to give you a good idea of what to go on. And then, back in town, right here, You can come across Patrick, which you give the socks to, and then you can also come across Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs do move around as you unlock new areas, which, real quick, I'll use his wool ability to move faster. But yeah, right here with Patrick, you talk to him, you can give him socks. He takes 10 at a time. And Mr. Krabs starts out right here. And then pretty soon he moves all the way down to about right here-ish, if I remember correctly. And then to his final spot right here. But you talk to him, and for some signing objects, which you can keep track of here, you can get a spatula from him. As you see, the price goes up with each one. Then with Patrick, it's always 10 socks until you're done. And then as you finish collecting all the socks and all the spatulas, you will successfully have completed the game. And as long as you, which you can come inside here, which this is the final boss's area, but as long as you don't go through the door that says kitchen here, you're good. You're still in town. So you will not trigger any final boss fight. In fact, there's a special spot right here where the spatula is. Right up here. Which will require you to do SpongeBob's wall jump ability. Which he can only use on certain walls. But, other than that, as long as you don't go into the kitchen, you don't have to worry about triggering the final boss. I think there was 70 or 75 collectibles for the door, but I think it was 70. And then the rest is extra. If you collect it all, you can fully complete the game. But if you just want to do a quick playthrough without full completionist, you can go through that door at 70. But all in all, this game wasn't too bad to complete, and it puts up a decent challenge without being too challenging, where it's like, not Dark Souls level of difficulty pretty much. And then, with this game, which right here is where you can go to get the Dream World. But yeah, with this game, some areas and challenges are definitely harder than others, but for the most part, it's pretty decent difficulties and stuff. It will take probably 10 hours, give or take, to beat the game if you're just doing a basic playthrough, which these are rough estimates, so do not quote me on time. And I'm sure probably some people know how to abuse some glitches where they could probably beat this game in 10 minutes through a glitch. I'm talking about legit gameplay, not abusing glitches. And then for completion, it could take you probably about 20 hours or so, maybe even more. But it all just depends on your luck with some of the challenges, how good you are at finding collectibles. Some collectibles you might miss and stuff, and have to hunt down. Of course, if some collectibles are too hard, I'm sure somebody on YouTube probably have a guide somewhere where all the collectibles are. Usually for platformers, somebody would have a guide. But yeah, you should be able to find them. I do know sometimes, like in the case of Krusty Krab and Squidward Place, you have to actually destroy everything just to get the socks to appear for some reason. But yeah, I think I pretty much did everything to give you a good idea of what you're getting into without spoiling too much. Minor spoilers, but I think it should be okay. And to be honest, if you love 3D platformers, I would definitely recommend this game. If you're love the SpongeBob people, like the entire show and stuff, you should love this game. If you hate 3D platformers but love SpongeBob, I think this game would still be enjoyable. It has a lot of the charm of the show and stuff. This was made back in PS2, so it's earlier seasons of the show. But I understand SpongeBob's still going on for massive seasons and stuff, but, you know, quite good. And then, also, if you do like this game, I do know there's SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake or something that's coming out soon, which is supposed to be another 3D platformer with SpongeBob. That might be worth checking into. I know I've already pre-ordered it. I'm waiting for it to come out, and I plan on doing a Let's Play on it. And I'll do a review on it too once I get done. But if you like this game, I think that game would be worth at least checking into. If you want to like continue. And there are some replayability to this. I definitely think that this game is fun enough that you can play through multiple times. There's also a multiplayer mode, but I think this is something separate. I don't think it goes on the campaign. But since I'm one person, I can't really try out the multiplayer. But as you see, you can see these characters that are not in the game, so I think this would be something different. But I've never played multiplayer, so I can't talk about it. But there's also a bunch of settings for like brightness, sound, which right now for this review I got everything down low. And then there's also camera, gameplay options, and language options, where you can check out different language. As you see, never select language options for text. Then, as you see, a whole bunch of different ones. Let's be honest, if I'm not playing in English, I would definitely pick the Japanese one. And you could choose subtitles on or off. So I think that should give you a good clue of what all is here. There's 3 save slots, so you can definitely choose, what save slot. Then if you wanted to, you could write over a save, so if you use up all the save slots, no big deal. But, I think this game's pretty fun and enjoyable, and I would definitely say check it out if you're into it. If you really hate SpongeBob but like 3D platformers, I think that you could enjoy this. You can always go to the options, audio settings, and just mute everything if you really find the characters annoying or something. And it's still a pretty good, decent 3D platformer. But if you hate SpongeBob and you hate 3D platformers, may not be the right game for you. But if you like any of them, I think that you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of this. It's a pretty good 3D platformer with decent math challenge without being too brutal or too easy, although some sections are very brutal. But, pretty decent difficulty and stuff, and, really well done. So I would definitely say check it out. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next video.